Welcome to another Atchman Kings of War Battle Report, the Epic Quest, number 13, Halflings versus Dwarves. Oh, Northern Alliance. 2,300 points. The scenario was Invade. Yes, the Hobbit Hellfighters are indeed back again. Really, the only change of the list was that we dropped the Scrying Gem for the Brew of Strength to make the Stalwarts a little more hitty, and everything else has pretty much stayed the same since the last game. I'm going to ask Carl the next time we play if we could swap up army list so that we have a little bit more variety in our games, because I'm getting down to the end of the Epic Quest, and some of my armies are tough just because of the models I own and stuff. And so I'm afraid that it wouldn't be very much of a game if the Hobbit Hellfighters had to fight some of those. So I'm going to get him to drag out something else for the next game if he doesn't mind. I've had my dwarves out the last 3 weeks, so I went ahead and decided just to make a Northern Alliance list that features lots of regiments of dwarf clansmen. Matter of fact, this is a nice clansman list if you look at it. We have a horde of human clansmen with a brew of sharpness. We have a horde of human clansmen with two-handed weapons and the potion of the caterpillar. 5 regiments of dwarf clansmen, 3 with two-handed weapons. A troop of elf clansmen, got to get the elf contingent in there. 2 troops of housecarls, or as I call them, house Carls, since I play Carl. A regiment of tundra wolves with a brew of strength. That's kind of my surprise unit. It moves very quickly. A lord with snow fox and the wings of honey maize. Clarion. A thane with the standard. Talinar standard. I apologize. A scald with the loot for 30 unit strength and 16 drops. I'll zoom in a minute and show you the closer pictures of my deployment. And I just want to apologize this battle. I had no ends of trouble with my camera, and I figured out later it was a setting on it that was messing things up. So the big thing with this army, my design of it, was to have it go all the way across the table. As you can see, I succeeded in that. And some of these guys are like right next to each other, so I could have spread out, even half an inch and actually got to the actual edge of the table. But as you can see, my elf clansmen down here, they are on the edge of the table. So you can see here that my left flank is entirely my dwarf clansmen. And I had the lord with the wing of honey maize there in case there was anything that I needed to. I needed some inspire and to be able to zap out and get 2 units before they charge. And then my elf clansmen here are anchoring the extreme left. And the reason why is Carl dropped his wild runners, or whatever the shooty guys are called, early. And so I just plopped the elf clansmen down right in front of them, so because they don't have very much armor. Even though the elf clansmen don't have any piercing or anything, it doesn't matter when you're fighting those kinds of guys. And then over here, right behind the dwarves, is the thane with Talinar standard to get those dwarves up to a really high morale, as long as they're close to him. So my right flank are basically all my humans, and so I have the 2 hordes of human clansmen. Intermixed with them beside them are my housecarls, and on the very, very end, because I did have an advantage in 1 drop and also some speed, I went ahead and put the tundra wolves and the cavern dweller over on the extreme end of my line, hoping that I could turn Carl's line at some point during the game. And the scald, basically with the loot, he's the big black flag there. He is just sitting in the middle of the line to bolster all these units. Over on the very end, next to the tundra wolves and the cavern dweller, is Clarion. He is hidden in that mess over there, but he's over there to help that end of the line. So Carl loaded up this flank to deal with the dwarven menace in front of him, and so he had a unit of wild runners, and behind him are the stalwarts that have the brew of strength. Those are pretty good can openers for dwarves. And then behind them, the lancers. Good grief, those guys killed like 3 of my units last game. I couldn't believe that silly little unit could get me, but they're fairly potent, for what they do and for low points cost. And then a unit of EJ Grenadiers, and up on the hill was the Halfling Hotpot / Howitzer. Next unit up is the Poachers, and behind them is Caldwalder, and the most lethal unit in Carl's army, actually two of them, is the unit of forest trolls with the brew of sharpness, and then the Iron Beast behind those there. Those guys, I mean, they're a hard out to take out those guys. And then finally his spear spikes there are there in front, and they have the hammer measured for us. So all these units are very good at dwarf opening as far as slaughtering on dwarves. So over here on the halfling left flank, we have a horde of braves, then the juggers, and then lastly the last unit of EJ grenadiers, who are there to support the juggers. The juggers are really an effective unit, but without support, they're just easy pickings. Well, this time we've got a unit of EJ grenadiers to help protect them. So Carl got the first turn and moved forward. He moved his wild runners up, and they did a couple of wounds to the elf clansmen, but did not waver them or destroy them. And the elf clansmen quickly shot back and wavered the unit of wild runners. It was a lucky dice roll. It wasn't anything. I think I rolled an 11 or something insane to waver them. So now his line's going to be stuck up there for a while. Down here, I did angle one unit of the dwarves, these ones with two-handed weapons, and angled them toward that gap in case something came in there. All right, I think this is actually my second turn. And I moved the Cavern Dweller up to the gap there, and Clarion moves up there to assist them with some inspiration. The Tundra Wolves went ahead and moved in an angle such that he couldn't see me with the EJ Grenadiers, but I could see his knights in case they charged me. So that was my plan on that part, and hopefully it will work. So in this area here, I had to stagger my line to kind of an echelon, and part of the reason is because the Carl had really blasterated my house Carls and had got them to be wavered, and you could see the little yellow chin on them. And so then I had to move a unit of dwarfs up to suck it up from the trolls that were going to come in. And the other part was, without the house Carls there, I would have got flank charged by the trolls with the unit of clansmen, and that would not have been good. So ended up having to do this little stagger maneuver here to keep the trolls from just destroying the middle of my line. Over here, I had to push one of the unit of clansmen forward to stop the trolls from having to getting into anything good or to pick where they want to attack. So they went forward to suck one up for the team, and I did bring up the Thane with Talinar standard behind him to give all those guys some really good morale. So over here, I'd even warned Carl that dwarf clansmen actually have wild charge like everything else in the army. So they went and caught EJ Grenadiers and got them with a flank charge. It was hindered and stuff, but it's going to be a lot of attacks and with crushing ones. So I'm hoping that that'll take them off. And then the Lord with the Wings of Honey Maze went ahead and charged the Lancers because they are a big threat. And of course, on the other hand, they're not that big a threat if they're mired in a fight with a tough hero like that. So I went ahead and just pushed him into that particular unit. And then the archers opened fire again on the wild runners, and I think took them off this time, but we'll look at the pictures. The dwarves did hurt the EJ Grenadiers, and I think wavered them, but did not kill them, which is regrettable. And then the archers did destroy the wild runners, and they had only managed to do 2 wounds this game because they had been pretty much stopped up the whole game. The bad thing about killing the wild runners is now that they've opened up for the stalwarts can get into the fight, and that's not going to be good because they have brew of strength. The Lord, he did a lot of wounds to the Lancers, and I think actually wavered them, so we'll have to see. So in the middle here, Carl had kept everything just out of my charge range, and so I just decided to just push everything forward in my turn 3, maybe in my turn 4, and because I really felt that my troops were superior to his and would be able to outgrind them, and I am going to get a eye opener when I decided to attack all these nasty little hobbitses. The juggers came thundering into my clansmen in the woods. Both of them, ironically, had the potion of the caterpillar, so this was going to be a a fair fight, so to speak. The EJ Grenadiers went ahead and charged Clarion, which was, you would think wouldn't be that great of a deal, but on the other hand, he's keeping my other stuff from getting into his flank, and that successful move actually keeps my dire wolves out of the battle. Dire wolves, I'm sorry, tundra wolves out of the battle, and it also is going to force the cavern dweller to charge the EJ Grenadiers to get rid of them. Yeah, here comes the nasty stuff. Here comes the forest trolls slattering into the unit of clansmen there. At least this was my clansmen that had the shield, so they were armor 5, and I think their morale with Talinar standard was 15-17, which is pretty darn good. So I think I finished off the EJ Grenadiers in my turn 3, so now here come the stalwarts into my unit of clansmen, and at least this turn he's hindered, but he's got crushing too, so basically every hit's going to hurt, so not good things. And you could see that his lancers there were wavered by my Lord Lord with the Wings of Honey Maze. Here's the aftermath. I think the Iron Beast and the Howitzer did shoot my Huskarl's troops off the table. They were gravely wounded. They had 5 wounds on them already. But the clansmen were able to hold the charge of the trolls, and despite that, I didn't really take that much damage over here on the right flank. The clansmen took 9, which was crazy. I think that was just some lucky dice rolling. But, I mean, they're 5s and 4s, and maybe it's 8, but whatever. And then my Housecarls only took 3 wounds, but, of course, were wavered. The clansmen in the woods hardly took any damage at all. Now, it was going to be open for me to be able to take some revenge here, but the Grenadiers did a couple of wounds to Clarion, and that has to be trouble because Clarion's morale isn't that high. And he does, he has a lot of side benefits for being Clarion. So since the dwarves actually held against the stalwarts were hindered, so there's a pretty good chance they were going to hold out. So I sent the elven clansmen into the stalwarts as well to throw just a few more attacks that direction. And you remember that all dwarfs in the Northern Alliance army have fury, so even if I was wavered, I can swing back, which is what you see. I've got a fury. I've got a chit next to one of my dwarves down here, but then you realize that he has fury as well, so he'll be able to swing back. In the middle here, I kind of debated charging into the flank of the trolls or charging into to try to destroy the unit of lancers, and I probably made the wrong decision because I'm pretty sure that the Chaos Lord could have taken out the Lancers by himself. But either charge was going to be hindered, so it probably didn't, I don't know if it mattered or not. But anyway, I went ahead and sent them in there to try to get rid of the Lancers, and then maybe could continue into the Stalwarts and get rid of them as well. But we'll have to see. So yeah, I did get to countercharge the Trolls, and then I charged them with a fresh unit of dwarves as well, these having two-handed weapons. But the problem is I was hindered. So, I mean, I didn't get very much pop out of this double attack. I think I did like 4 wounds. So my unit on the right is going to be doomed, depending on what happens the next turn. So over here on my extreme right flank, I went ahead and charged the Cave Dweller into the Grenadiers, and I nimble moved the hounds around behind, the Tundra Wolves around behind the things. I really should have gotten rid of the Juggernauts this turn, but I snake-eyed them. I could not believe it because, I had them piled full of wounds and then rolled snake eyes because I was hoping, obviously that I would kill them and then pivot and then kill the unit and just kind of go down the line. But rolling snake eyes right there was really detrimental to my plan. And also Carl's excellent use of the Grenadiers to hold up Clarion was key to screwing up my plans for this fight. But now I had my Tundra Wolves in position to wreak mayhem behind the enemy lines. So in Carl's turn, Carl countercharged and killed my unit of my Dwarven regiment there, and that left just the unit of Elven clansmen there. But I'll be able to charge with my other unit in on the next turn. The unit of Lancers was destroyed in the previous turn, and that left my Chaos Lord standing there to overrun 1 inch, and then he charged Cadwallop, or whatever his name is, into him and did a couple of wounds to him, which was good. But I mean, I had the wings. Now I couldn't fly, but I really don't need to fly because I'm so close to all these other targets here. My unit of I don't know if he charged me. I think he did. I think he charged me with his unit of poachers and charged into one of my dwarf units to keep it from flank charging into the trolls on the next turn. So yeah, the middle of the table is pretty much gone for me. The trolls had countercharged the fresh unit that charged them, and that allowed the Iron Beast to charge the severely wounded unit, and both of them easily destroyed them. And I think what happened over here, you see the unit that stick out, maybe I have another picture. I think that the spear guys got a lucky kill on my clansmen. I would have never thought that in 100 years. But anyway, dice happen, and disaster happens sometimes. So we'll have to see what happens next turn. Yeah, the snake eyes on the juggers really, really hurt, because now his braves were able to destroy the house carls, and then the spear spites here destroyed that clansman, and I still don't know how that they did that, but some good dice rolling and some poor dice rolling on my point, I would assume. And but anyway, now Carl has busted the whole middle of the table open, and I text my friend Sean right here and go, I'm going to lose this game, because it sure as heck looked like it. So yeah, the Grenadiers got lucky and killed Clarion in their turn, on top of everything else, and so it was looking pretty disastrous for me, because Clarion is my inspiring unit for that side of the table. But the good thing is my wolves are now in position to destroy something. Okay, in my turn, I went ahead and charged my Scald into his unit of Braves to keep them from flanking my unit of Clansmen there. The Tundra Wolves go ahead and charge the Charmed Life Juggers in the rear, and then the Cavern Dweller goes ahead and wails on the Grenadiers that just killed Clarion. In the middle, I had to charge my Thane with Talinar Standard into the unit of Spear Spikes, and the reason why is because I had to keep them from moving across the middle of the table, and so that was not going to be a good thing, but I believe I got lucky and wavered them, or something silly, but I at least did a wound so that they couldn't charge right through me. Over here, the dwarfs charge into the fight with the stalwarts. The elves also countercharge. And then lastly, the Chaos Lord goes swinging into their flank. I needed to take this unit out, because that was some more unit strength that I knew how to deal with. And my unit of dwarfs countercharged the poachers. And the poachers, believe this or not, had done 8 freaking wounds to my dwarfs in the previous turn in a fight. So, I mean, they were not in a good position at all. So, yeah, this is what should have happened on like turn 3. And I finally got rid of the Juggers, and I got rid of the Grenadiers, and was able to now turn the Tundra Wolves toward the back of one of the units, and that way I had the Cavern Dweller and the human clansmen in the front of that unit of Braves now, so I should hopefully be able to knock them out of the game. With the help of the Lord and the unit of Fresh Dwarves, I was able to get rid of the stalwarts this turn, so that was huge. It's going to keep that unit strength away. And I didn't do anything much to the poachers, but I did waver them this turn. It's not going to save me from getting flank charged by the trolls, but made me feel better anyway. So in his turn, Carl went ahead and turned the Iron Beast toward the approaching Tundra Wolves, and I guess my unit with Talinar Standard did go ahead and waver that unit of Spear Spikes, so that was a good thing. And I believe the Braves fought back against the ASB and did not. So yeah, here the trolls charge into the flank of one of my last dwarf regiments, and it's going to kill it off this turn. But the big thing is that my elves and my other regiment of dwarves are free to run across the middle of the table since we're playing Invade. Okay, I don't remember exactly how he killed my archers, but they're dead. Maybe they got shot by the poachers or something, and that may have killed them off since they were out of the fight by then. And I still have one unit of dwarfs over there that's in a fairly safe position, and I positioned the Lord so that if he charges, he's mighty. The best he's going to do is get a few inches. But the big thing is if he charges back that direction, he's going to give up that unit strength. And that's what I wanted him to do. If he's going to make that charge and kill something, I want him to give up the unit strength that's across the table. So over here, my Cavern Dweller makes a flank charge into the unit of Braves. And the human clansmen make the charge from the front. And I do have Potion of the Caterpillar, so this is going to be an ouchie. You can see there that my Scald was wavered by the Braves in the previous turn, but was not destroyed. So here the Tundra Wolves charged the Spear Spikes in the rear, and I don't kill the unit. I don't know why. Probably just some really crappy dice rolling. But I really thought that unit was a goner with that many attacks going into it. But obviously I was delusional. Yes, one of my 5 units of dwarfs survived the game and moved into score on Carl's right-hand side of the table. Over here, my lord is engaged with the unit of poachers, and the irony here is, he could go kill my guy, but then he would lose his 3 points of unit strength that are already on the other side of the table. So this is one of those catch-22 things, is where do I want to save my unit? Well, the fact is they weren't going to get across the middle line anyway. So the best bet in this case is not to charge and kill my lord. So with the help of the Cavern Dweller, I did wipe out the Braves this turn. And my unit is already on the other side of the table. So I really don't need to do anything to change that. So I'm in good shape here. And then the Tundra Wolves failed for some reason to kill. I don't know, maybe I snake-eyed it, and I just don't recall. Snake-eyed that unit of Spear Spikes. So I don't, like I said, I don't exactly recall why they're still there, because you would have thought with 50-something attacks that I would have killed them. So I'm guessing I snake-eyed it. So yeah, the Iron Beast was so close to the edge there, he probably could have killed my wolves, but that wouldn't have helped him win the game. And because I already had a unit strength advantage, so he went ahead and rumbled across the table to score. So it was a very hard-fought game, but the Northern Alliance prevails 11-8. These armies were a lot more evenly matched than I actually thought when I started. The Halflings had 30 unit strength, and my army had 30 unit strength as well. So you knew it was going to be a struggle just from there. And both of us have massive hordes of stuff as far as being able to grind with the other person. It's just that Carl's ground a lot better than I did and just destroyed my middle. He was just whoa. And a couple of weeks back, my friend Sean said, hey, I didn't really understand what they could do, and I just pushed straight forward and got creamed. Well, this game, I pretty much did the same thing, because I thought, well, none of those troops are as good as mine, because, they're Northern Alliance and they've got crushing strength and all that stuff. But boy, was I wrong. I mean, in one turn, the whole middle of the table was gone. And the only thing I was lucky about is that my army was wider than his, and so I was able to succeed on both flanks at the same time. Even though I really didn't load a flank per se, I did have my speed units, the Cavern Dweller, which is not that fast, but the unit of wolves over there, Tundra Wolves, and Clarion over there to try to hit the corner. And then Carl wisely used his grenadiers, and I don't know if I rolled snake eyes on them, but I don't know why I couldn't kill them in like one go. But it took forever to get them, and they killed Clarion on top of that. So just bizarre instances happening this game. And I was really impressed with the little dwarf line down here, especially with the Talinar Standard guy down there next to him. And then the Dwarf Lord with the Wings of Honey Maze. He, of course, is a very good model anyway. And he can catch these small, light units of cavalry or whatever and take care of them pretty much on his own. So, and that's even despite having only having armor 4, because of the wings. But I really like the combination on my left flank with all the dwarves. I mean, and they did well. I mean, one of them survived. I guess that means they did well. This game, I honestly wish I would have maybe not taken the so many Housecarl troops and maybe wanted some more archers. I mean, the archers aren't that good, but On the other hand, there's not a ton of armor in a halfling army, so the archers tend to be not so bad, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I mean, another troop of archers I think could have helped as much as having the housecarls. But on the other hand, the housecarls did absorb a lot of the shooting and stuff, and that spared the other units from catching so much of it. So anyway, it was a really hard fought game, and I thought for sure I'd lost. I'd actually texted Sean and told him that I was pretty sure I'd lost the game. And it wasn't just that last-minute comeback on by killing the stalwarts and then the cavern dweller and stuff killing that unit of braves that put me over the top. I just could not kill that unit of juggers. I have no idea. I mean, you're remembering I'm hitting on 4s, but with crush 2 from those clansmen, and just couldn't do it. I mean, like I said, I'm pretty sure I snake-eyed them. And I mean, maybe had 2 or 3 snake eyes this game, because there's just some inexplicable things like, why are these guys still alive, that I look at today. But I've slept on it since, so I don't really recall what happened. But I do know that I did snake eyes the jugger unit, and that really made me lose the middle, because I thought I would blast them in 1 turn and then be able to turn down and just take the middle out. But when they hit there, like I said, it wiped out my whole middle. Because I wasn't able to get those troops over there, or even the tundra wolves over on that side of the table. And anyway, it was a tremendous battle. I didn't think I would win. I was really chalking it up to losing it right off, and kind of got lucky at the very end there, because I was able to bring the flanks around there to support my middle. And that's how it worked out. So thank you, Carl, for the great game. I mean, most of my army was dead. This is probably the most I've lost as far as figures in a long time in a game. I mean, you take these big trays of guys off. So anyway, I hope you appreciate the battle report. We'll work on the next one. I'm not sure what army I'm pulling out for it. But it's going to be the 14th of the battle. That means there'll be 6 battles left after this in the epic quest. And I'm kind of eager for it to be over in some ways, but on the other hand, it's been a lot of fun to get to play all these armies or field all these armies. And one of the nice things about the Mantic units and stuff like that is you can see right here in this, I can use dwarves, elves, and humans in one army, and that means I can buy, if I had elf figures, if I had a dwarf army, I could throw them together and make a Northern Alliance army, and then throw some other stuff in it, and then you have a very nice battle force. And the same thing is, you can use those same dwarves in free dwarves. You could use them in Northern Alliance, and you could use them in regular dwarves. So there's a lot of versatility in Kings of War about being able to use models across multiple armies. And this is an example of it, where I had elves, dwarves, and humans all in the same battle group. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the report. I'll see you next week.